The call came before I even set foot back home. Her voice was too light, too rehearsed. "Don't be mad," she said, almost laughing, "but I did something impulsive." I was in the airport lounge, jacket still folded over my arm, the taste of stale coffee lingering on my tongue. "What did you do?" My voice was calm, flat. She took a breath like she was unveiling a surprise party. "I sold the car." The silence between us stretched, brittle and sharp. "My sister needed the money. For her trip. She deserves it after everything she's been through. And honestly, that car was a waste, just sitting there like a toy." I could hear glasses clinking in the background, music, laughter. She wasn't alone. "I did us a favor," she added, and then, like a knife, she whispered, "Thanks to your car, she's having the time of her life." My lips curved. Not out of joy, not out of pain. Something colder. A chuckle slipped out. "What's so funny?" she snapped, her tone suddenly sharp. I let the silence hold her, press against her. Then I told her the truth, one detail that would carve her smile into something else entirely. Because the car they sold wasn't the car she thought it was. She hadn't just sold metal and leather, she had gutted me. That car wasn't just a machine, it was the last piece of my father I had left. He built engines with hands that shook from whiskey, but when he worked, they were steady. I grew up at his feet, passing him wrenches, watching him breathe life into steel. The car was the one thing he left me untouched, untainted. And she sold it like it was furniture? When I got home, she stood there with her arms crossed, proud, smug, like she'd cleaned the clutter from our lives. "Don't sulk," she said. "It's just a car." Just a car. I watched her lips move, the way her smile twitched when I didn't react. She expected rage, shouting, maybe even a slammed door. Instead, I nodded slowly, calm, too calm. Because while she spoke, I was replaying every lie. Every time she dismissed me, every excuse about her sister's struggles, every late-night call I overheard and pretended not to. Her sister wasn't struggling. Her sister was a parasite, and she was the willing host. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I listened, watched. While she laughed on calls, whispering to her sister about the plan, I studied the transfer slips she carelessly left on the counter. The name of the buyer, the account details, the dates. I traced the money trail, piece by piece. It wasn't a simple act of generosity. It was collusion. They'd been draining me slowly, weaving stories about hardship and emergencies. The car was just the boldest theft yet. But what they didn't know, what she couldn't possibly understand, was that the car they sold wasn't the original. Months ago, when I sensed cracks forming in her loyalty, I acted. Quietly, meticulously. The dream sports car, the one she knew, the one she despised, was just a shell. I'd swapped it out, moved the real one into storage under another name, another life she never bothered to look into. What they sold was a replica, cosmetic, empty under the hood, worth a fraction of what they thought. I stayed silent, letting them believe they'd won, letting her laugh about how easily I was managed. Every word she spoke dug the pit deeper for her own fall. The moment came quietly. She was sitting at the kitchen table, glass of wine in hand, scrolling through her sister's vacation photos. Beaches, hotels, cocktails lined like trophies. "Look at her," she said, eyes glowing. "She deserves this. And it's all thanks to you." I placed a folder in front of her, thin, precise. Inside, the car's true appraisal, the replica's value, the account under my name where the original sat untouched, photographs, paper trails she couldn't refute. Her laughter froze, her face drained. This isn't possible." Her voice cracked, brittle. "It is," I said, steady, cold. "What you sold was worthless. What mattered is still mine." She flipped through the pages, desperate, hands trembling. The glass of wine tipped, spilling across the table, seeping into the papers she wanted to erase. Her eyes met mine, wide and hollow. She wasn't angry, she was broken. "You thought you gutted me," I said, leaning back, "but all you did was sell your pride to buy her vanity." Her lips trembled. "You tricked me." "No," I whispered. "You revealed yourself." I stood watching her crumble. The weight of her scheme, the humiliation of being played, settled heavy on her shoulders. Her sister's joyride was built on a lie, a hollow car, a hollow theft, and now a hollow marriage. "You wanted me to be furious," I said. "You wanted fire, but fire burns fast. I prefer ice." I turned, leaving her in the dim kitchen, her wineglass shattered on the floor, her laughter long gone. I drove to the storage unit that night. The real car gleamed beneath the harsh light, untouched, untouchable. My father's legacy, my secret. I ran my hand along the hood, the metal cool, alive with memory. It was more than steel. It was proof that I had outplayed her, that while she plotted with whispers, I moved in silence. She thought she stripped me bare, but in the end, she only stripped herself. I slid into the driver's seat, the leather sighing beneath me. The engine roared when I turned the key, deep and steady. In that sound, I found clarity. No pity, no regret, just truth. And as I pulled out into the night, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. She would never ride in this car again.